Me, myself, and I. Damn. This looks serious.
And dark topic. Today, I want to discuss a sensitive and dark topic concerning the Korean military. Today's discussion involves abuse within the mandatory military service system, and it is.
Oh shit! And y'all, chat, y'all remember the day when Ray, right? Ray Clover Boy Ray, when he announced he, you know what I'm saying? He's supposed to go to the military. Homeboy was tweaking out, like on some terrified type timing, right? So, yo, let's see what Ray was scared of, yo.
It is important to note that these cases do not represent the entire system, but we are discussing this issue today to highlight serious problems that need to be addressed. So, all South Korean men are required to perform military performance. The military is often described as a closed environment due to its hierarchical and insular nature. This strict hierarchy creates significant power imbalance. New recruits and lower-ranking soldiers are particularly vulnerable to mistreatment by their seniors who have significant control over their daily lives.
Shit.
This structure can lead to abuses going unnoticed and unaddressed. So speaking of culture, hazing and hierarchical abuse can be normalized within the military culture. Many soldiers may accept such behavior as part of the military experience, perpetrating a cycle of abuse.
You won't resist it. You can't resist it, bro. Some of these things, these you know, their ways of like initiating new recruits and shit like that, where it's like damn near humiliation rituals, right? It's like, what do you do when you resist that? You know what I'm saying? They kick you out of their shit. You feel me? And then it's like, yo, feel me? You've blocked what's supposed to happen anyway at that time. You know what I mean? And nobody's gonna wanna come in between what's supposed to, what they're supposed to receive in terms of what I'm supposed to go through. But then again, these are like surprises, unpleasant surprises. You know what I'm saying? For example, you told yourself, no, I'm trying to get into the military. You're probably one of those people, I'm trying to get into the military, right? And then, but then now you get there and then it's all this. But then at the same time, if you got that mind of like, I'm trying to get into the military, you probably like on some David Goggins type shit. Like your shit gotta be so tough. You allow yourself to go through these humiliation rituals type. You know what I'm saying?
And a stigma associated with reporting abuse or seeking help for mental health issues within the military. And this can discourage soldiers from coming forward, fearing they will be seen as weak or disloyal. Unfortunately, there have been several notable cases of abuse-related deaths in the South Korean military. One prominent case occurred in April 2014 when Private Yoon Sung-ju tragically died after suffering severe beatings, food deprivation, and sleep denial from his superiors. He was just 22 years old when he died. This incident drew significant attention to the issue of hazing and abuse within the military. Another significant case happened in 2011 where a Marine, after enduring constant bullying, went on a shooting spree, killing several fellow soldiers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like, even though you do have the David Goggins mindset, it's like there's certain things where it's like, yo, things could just go too far, right? So resisting certain type of behaviors when you're in the military could be life-saving for you, right? But they don't do it. You're not expected to resist it. You just gotta take it.
Soldiers. Despite efforts by the...
Because niggas even die, bro. What the hell?
South Korean government,
That's
like
scary.
setting up a military human rights center and allowing anonymous abuse reports, these measures haven't fully solved the problem. And today, we have a deeply emotional interview with a victim of hazing in the Korean military. He describes that time as the worst period of his life, something that has changed him forever. It wasn't an easy decision for him to sit down with us and share his story. He is still dealing with a trauma, and the investigation into his case is still ongoing. He was so terrified that the people who hurt him might recognize him. It's infuriating to think that while the perpetrators are probably out there living their lives, the victim is left to hide in fear just to talk about his pain and the scars that will never fully heal.
You served in the South Korean
I
military.
served in the Republic of Korea, my Marine Corps, for 18 months. I was deployed to a unit maybe 7 or 8 miles away from North Korea. It was one of the worst experiences of my life.
Joining the Marines in South Korea is often viewed as a mark of honor, reflecting strength and toughness.
So I'm also
For
thinking,
many young men, serving in such a challenging branch of the military is a source of personal pride and earns them respect in society.
I guess I just didn't want to go to the regular army and just be like every other Korean. I guess I wanted to feel special. I wanted to do something I could be proud of. I wanted to change myself for the better, either by becoming stronger, physically, mentally.
becoming a
The
high
South
value
Korean
man.
Marine Corps, known for its discipline and skill, is highly respected, but also criticized for the harsh treatment that some soldiers have faced. There have been reports of severe hazing, abuse, and bullying, especially in the Marine Corps, which has a reputation for its tough and demanding culture. Before joining the military, he had heard plenty of stories about hazing and violent beatings in the Korean military, but he never really thought about how serious it could actually be. And he certainly never imagined that he would become a victim of such violence himself.
It all starts with verbal abuse. Cleaning time was a time to dread. You had 30 minutes to clean around 4 to 5 different places. You had to empty out the trash can, you had to clean the walls, you had to sweep the floor. After every cleaning session, you were literally drenched in sweat and you were out of breath because that's how fast you had to move to get everything done within 30 minutes. If there's a single speck of dust on the walls or a single strand of hair, your seniors will just call you over and that's when they just go off on you. I don't mean like, what is this? Why aren't you cleaning properly? I'm talking about full-on verbal harassment. They swear at you, they scream at you. It's a very humiliating experience, obviously. I seem to be the one making the most mistakes.
Yo, my nigga Ray.
As the black sheep of the group. If they couldn't find any dirt on you, they smear it on and they point it out and say, oh, you messed up. Yeah, it's a very systematic form of abuse.
He told us that when you first join a military unit, seniors often force you to memorize pointless things like marching songs and random rules. And if you don't, you get yelled at. This environment is shaped by a system called 호봉제, an informal rank-based structure that dictates privileges. As you rise in rank, you gain more privileges, but many of the rules imposed by seniors are petty or even cruel. For instance, if you're of lower rank, you might not be allowed to lie on your bunk, wear socks and sandals together, or even wear winter clothes in freezing weather. Refusing a senior's order, no matter how unreasonable, isn't an option.
Well, ideally, they would establish that dynamic to help you out and guide you, help you adjust to barracks life, but honestly, they take advantage of the power dynamic and they usually do that to abuse you. Basically, verbal abuse is a stepping stone to physical abuse because by seeing how well you react to verbal abuse, meaning you don't report it, if they determine that they could just verbally abuse you and get away with it, that's when they start to get physical with you. After maybe 2 or 3 weeks of verbal abuse, that's when one of my seniors decided to get physical with me after I messed up. I'm not sure for what reason he beat me, can't really remember. He hit me in the chest and my arm. He hit me hard enough to leave a bruise. When he actually managed to see those bruises in shower time, we had a communal shower where we all showered. He made it a point to tell me during showers to put soap on my bruises so no one else could see them. He dared me to report him. He told me to get out of the barracks and just go to an officer and tell them that he hit me. I said, no sir, because that's what we were supposed to say. It just got worse from there. There was another guy that I called B. He basically thought I was a moron. He grew to hate me more and more after each rumor that he heard from another senior. Whether it's that I was being disrespectful, that I messed up somewhere, that I didn't clean properly. I still remember the first time he beat me. He put his hands on my throat. He pushed me up against the wall until the back of my head slammed into it, and that's when he smacked me really hard in the face a bunch of times. Since this was during the COVID era, we were all wearing masks and, we were supposed to lower it, so he didn't care if my lips were bloody because it was going to be covered up by the mask anyways. Well, I don't know for what reason he did it, but one night he kept giving me hell and I was doing my best to stay awake. I stood right next to his bunk. Then that's when he told me to spread my legs. Then that's when he kicked me in the groin really hard. I can't remember how many times he kicked me, but I think it went on for at least an hour. He would kick me in the groin. I would collapse on his bed. He would tell me to get up, spread my legs again. Then he would kick me again, and it just went on like that. Sometimes he would tell me to spread my legs, and he would grab my testicles and he would just squeeze it as fast as he can, like he was squeezing a piece of fruit. And eventually I just collapsed on his bed, just sobbing, and I just told him that I just wanted to die at that point because I didn't seem to be adjusting to barracks life. I didn't seem to be doing anything right.
Damn.
Everything that I tried to do was faulty, wrong, or just not perfect enough for them. He told me to pull my pants down.
What?
He'd tell me to put my finger in my anus.
What?
Then after that, he would tell me to suck it. And
What?
It tasted. By that point, he had been beating me for a few weeks already, and he noticed that I wasn't reporting it. So that's when he decided to go all out with me. Another way that he physically abused me was he would put me in a chokehold until I passed out, basically. One of the worst tortures that he had was, he'd tell me to lower my pants, then he'd take a can of menthol spray and he would spray it up my urethra, and it would start burning like all hell. So urinating was extremely painful to say the least.
Why would they do
I can't remember how many times he did it, but I think he at least did it maybe 5 times.
Bro, people that do these things are alive, bro. And they occupy positions of, you know what I'm saying, like, authority over people that come to their military. You know what I'm saying? Fuck.
For over the span of a couple of weeks, I was intimidated into keeping my mouth shut about the abuse. If you report any of the abuse, you're an outcast, as simple as that. Everybody starts ignoring you, and I couldn't choose between getting support and help and being treated like an outcast, so...
He says he couldn't report the abuse because he feared retaliation. His abusers had threatened him to keep quiet. There's also a strong culture of shaming victims who speak up about abuse.
Yeah, fuck.
Even if you report it and transfer it to another unit, there is no guarantee of safety.
It's a fucking prison there.
Spread quickly within the military, and it's likely that people in your new unit could target you in the same way. He eventually reported the abuse only after all his seniors had left the military, but by then, it was too late.
I spoke to one of my senior NCOs about it. He referred me to the company administrator. He told me not to feel too bad because, well, I didn't cause too much trouble during my military service. He just told me that he hoped that I would look on my military service with pride. I'm afraid that's the best that he could do because everyone who abused me had discharged by that point and they were legally considered civilians. Military law didn't apply to them. I kept my mouth shut for this long. I suppose that, I might as well leave it at that and just move on with my life. Obviously, that was not the case.
It's so unfortunate, man.
would have ended very differently if I had reported the abuse while they were still in. I'm not sure how it would have ended, but I'm certain that I would have gotten more closure than the closure that I got now.
Now he is struggling from chronic depression and other mental health issues that he continues to cope with, but they seem to be getting worse over time.
I normally don't drink, but I started to drink more often. Sometimes I drank just to help me sleep. I took some antidepressants after I got out, but I had to stop because it was getting too expensive. Getting therapy in Korea is not exactly cheap too, so mental health support comes at a premium here, so it's not exactly an easy thing to afford. There's not a lot of support resources that are available for me right now. Sometimes I wish I died in my unit.
Bro, and then we get surprised like
It's
when...
not easy living like this.
Oh my god. Then we get surprised when people get hooked on these vices.
I didn't know that when
They
I
come
went
from
in,
somewhere.
I would be coming out a completely different person. I've become more irritable, I've become more irate. Sometimes I can't focus on basic things just because I feel so angry and disappointed that I let those things happen. I lost interest in a lot of things that I normally enjoyed.
His case is still under investigation, but the lack of evidence has been a major obstacle. It's hard to gather evidence because phone use in the military is strictly regulated. You're only allowed to use your phone during designated hours, and the camera is blocked. Most of the abuse occurs outside of these hours, making it nearly impossible to capture hard evidence unless you report it directly to your officers. As a result, some abusers have avoided consequences simply because there wasn't enough evidence to pursue.
I'm even more disappointed to say that I'm not the only person like this. Chances are there are a lot of other people that are like me. I think that abuse can exist in any relationship where there's an uneven power structure. The fact that you're their senior gives you some kind of authority to disrespect or even mistreat them. I suppose it could happen anywhere. Generally speaking, these types of incidents aren't good for morale. They deeply impact the image of the Korean military, and it makes people not want to go even more. So I would understand if the Ministry of Defense at least tries to cover these cases up, but that would mean that the victims would be silenced.
No closure.
There's a lot of unreported cases of abuse in the Korean military. I heard that someone had their pubic hair burnt off with a lighter. I also heard that someone had hand sanitizer put on their hands, and this hand sanitizer would be lit on fire. If they tried to put the fire out, that's when they would get a scolding or something. Hazing is a very difficult problem to address in the Korean military. Even if a unit conducts a survey to try to gauge the cultural environment of a unit, everyone knows that the answer is a lie. Everyone says that we're all doing fine, there's no hazing, there are no beatings, even though there are beatings that are being done in secret. The officers know that very well, but they know that without any evidence, without any firm evidence, they can't do anything. I think the victim should learn how to speak up, basically. Don't let anyone cow you into silence, because that's what happened to me. The military uniform, the camis that I still have, they're the closest thing to a monster in the closet that I have. Every time I open my closet and I see those camis hanging, everything that happened to me comes flying back.
He wanted to share his story so that others would truly understand.
What the fuck? Nah, this is crazy, bro. Nah, this is crazy, dog. What? Korea got some dark shit going on, man. Well, I guess, you know, every place got some dark shit going on. But yo, it gets really dark out there, bro.
And hidden. The military needs to recognize that it can't fix these problems on its own. They need to seek external help, gather input from outside experts, and establish a system for continuous monitoring of barracks life. Without these steps, the same issues will keep happening, and nothing will really change. It was truly an emotionally heavy interview for me, And as we talked about his experiences,